All right. Well, this is kind of unexpected. I guess I'm doing a coffee with Christie, although I don't have any coffee. I'm drinking juice. And it's actually not juice I made, which is weird because I never have juice that I don't make. However, I went out with some friends recently, a couple weeks ago, and we were taking a cab back to the hotel in the city and told them we wanted to get some snacks and water and stuff, so he took us to 7-Eleven. Yep, and it's exclusive to 7-Eleven, but it's cold pressed, organic, like literally juice. I read the ingredients and it's shocking, but anyways, so now when I'm on the road and see a 7-Eleven, I pick some up. Okay, so I was not planning on doing this, but I was thinking about doing like coffee with Christie questions again. And for those of you who don't know, I don't have Messenger on my phone, so I don't do Facebook messaging a lot, so I'm not ignoring you. I just don't do that often. Well, today is my last day being unemployed, so I figured, I got on the computer and checked some messages. And it's kind of a long message and questions and stuff, and there's no way I can type that much. So I figured I would answer it here, or at least do my best as much as I understand. So he's asking if you were him, he's talking about somebody talking about the border issue, and if you was them or him, what would you be cautious of, and what would and how would you investigate now? I've done a lot of digging into many different areas, so I have a lot of info, but it's leading me in different directions. I cannot tell if it's a collaboration of people, organizations, free stuff we give away, or the worst thing I can think of, and a slow and gradual invasion to outpopulate and change laws, dynamics of towns, etc., and asked about why. Let me scroll up a little. Sorry, I'm trying to make it shorter. Why do you think they're coming from South America? And I know Mexico signed into UN Immigration Pact. I believe it's part of Agenda 2030 or a couple of other reasons, maybe. But would like to get your opinion. Okay. That's a lot. All right. First of all, thanks. Ooh, it is bright. Okay, well, that'll go down quick. As far as the politics and border stuff, I'm gonna probably be able to sum that up pretty quickly. That's all a distraction. I personally don't believe in borders, and growing up on the border, living on the border, and working on the border from San Diego to Laredo, I got to see that it was much bigger than a border problem. Of course, growing up in the city, programmed and believing in borders and told this, that, and, I grew up with security, border checkpoints all the time and stuff, and so I thought that was normal. And yeah, so that's why I went out to investigate. I was also programmed with a lot of other political hokey baloney, which I don't believe today. So, as for the border issue, the trafficking, the immigration, all of that, yes, is being coerced. It's being manipulated. Yes, they do want people in cities and in certain pieces of land. Yes, there are many agendas going on that could keep you busy for decades, like it did me. So I choose to not dabble in the politics of it anymore and deal with the human and the spiritual issue of what's going on. So my beliefs would be, if we really are free, then we really are able to travel freely. I mean, we should be able to cross any border. The fact of the matter is, though, it doesn't go both ways. So using the racist card against Americans is just really stupid because, I mean, how come they're not calling Canada racist? They don't let you in if you had one ticket. How come it's not racist for the Mexicans to shoot the Guatemalans crossing the border? Okay, so there's a lot of stuff culturally, politically, and stuff that I think are diversions to take away from the real human issue, that is, people are being displaced purposefully. Why is it? I remember, 12 or 13 years ago when the price of corn and everything went up like 80% in one day, and the people in Mexico couldn't make a living anymore. So they had to make really hard choices to leave their families and come up here and work in inhumane conditions, some of which I exposed, like with sex trafficking ring. Once you get, if you're involved in the politics of it, or say you're even being victimized by, some of it, it's easy to get caught up in the sides. But my advice is, please don't do that. Just stick with the human issue and how it's being used to divide people. As far as like the human trafficking, sex trafficking and things. First of all, it's going on everywhere. It's not, unfortunately, something that anyone can really do anything about. Most of the people you see out there bragging about doing something about it really aren't. They're just part of the same people that you're really fighting against, but they have people out there that make you think they're doing something. So why are people like me completely massacred? Like literally overnight, I exposed that sex trafficking ring, and within an instant, I'm a racist, child abusing terrorist. My house is raided. I'm the second news story after Anna Nicole Smith died. She's number one, I'm number two on every single channel. Like, really? And then when they followed me out to Branson and, and so-called child abuse that they denied all the allegations on, but why was that, like, newsworthy? And the certain agencies involved and stuff. So, God, there are so many places to go here. And you asked me what I would do different, and I'm going to get there. Oh, I promise. But okay, so agencies, I'll just say this, multiple agencies and so-called human rights organizations offered to pay me to shut up. Yeah. Why is it that, I mean, if these girls are being raped and all these people really care about them, then why was it all erased and buried and me turned into, what they did to me when they crucified me? So none of these agencies or groups are actually trying to solve the problem. They could shut it down any time. I mean, just like even in the case with me, they knew where it was going on. Everybody knew where it was going on. Anna Garcia did a report on NBC with a hidden camera with a dude that lived there for 30 days. The sex trafficking, so everybody knows that it's going on. They know where it's going on. They know when it's going on, and they're not stopping it. So, for the very few sincere people that get involved with a crusade of actually wanting to try to stop it, we got silenced and poisoned and disabled and slandered and blacklisted and all of those wonderful things. I'm not complaining about that, by the way. I'm super grateful for my path, and I love who and where I am today. So I'm not complaining, but most people can't handle this. So that's why most people don't stay on the right side. Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that have all been deleted, but all surrounding that. So maybe if I talk about things that I would do different today if I was investigating all of that, maybe it can jog my memory and make me start talking about relevant warnings that I hope this video ends up being. Because we all have a cause, you know, especially, you know, I've been raped, so of course I want to save the girls. But oftentimes these desires are distractions because we aren't dealing with our own issues. So really, if we are truly healthy and balanced ourselves, we have a lot less crusades that we're really loud about. Yeah, but I'll get into that later. What would I do different today? Okay, so if I came across those same border issues and the murders and the sex trafficking and things like that. Oh God, there's so much I would do different today because I'm a totally different person. But as far as going to expose it, I would totally do the same thing. I still have that desire to expose evil. I can't help it. And if I happen to be there and somebody happens to be doing something and, you know, then yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you don't like it, don't be a criminal. But, yeah, so even though other things would be different, that would still be the same. However, the way I would go about it would be different. If you really are trying to expose like sex trafficking or human trafficking and have like real evidence or real leads of it, and I'm not talking forwarding blogs or forwarding other people's words. I mean like actually going down there like I did. Okay, talk to the people and see the places, photograph, videotape. Like if you're, you know, here's the thing. Rule number 1, I would never go with a group of any type of political action group or any type of self-proclaimed activist group. Never, ever, ever, ever. Why? Because they're all infiltrated, every single one. Any group of 3 or more people has already been infiltrated. Done. End of story, period. Okay? Or any group that claims to have connections with law enforcement. Yeah, big red flag. In my experience, and I'm glad you brought this up, I'm super happy to be talking about this because I'd love to find a way to help other people. But here's the thing, both sides of every issue are working together. And then you're concerned about an issue or cause, and anyone who's going to be effective, I mean, all of you you're all being spied on, all your actions. So if you're actually being effective, you're going to be singled out, you're going to be targeted, and you will be slandered, silenced, and all the things that happened to me. Period. You will. And if you're not effective. Period. Sorry. You know, I mean, people get banned for posting bread recipes these days, okay? So, but I was banned way before it was cool. 12 YouTube channels, 3 Facebook accounts, yeah, way before it was cool. My show being shut down, so, alright, I'm just saying, all that stuff that you guys used to want to kill me for is mainstream now. But I'm like this silent person that everyone ignores or tries to replicate. So, yeah, good luck. Anyways, yeah, that was pointed. Okay. Yeah, and even in regards to that topic, like, let me ask you, this issue's been out there forever. What has actually changed? What has actually been done to help anyone? So clearly these activist groups aren't doing it. Clearly these political action groups aren't doing it. Clearly these groups that you're sending your money to, you know, go stand on a corner or whatever. That's not doing it. Sorry about the lighting. Okay. Anyways, so yeah. rule number one of what I would do differently is never go with a group or especially multiple groups. They're, FBI, DIA, CIA, undercover cops, dude, so many agencies. Like, man, it's crazy that I got out alive, honestly. So I know for a fact that these agencies are not only controlling these groups, but actually going out and committing crimes, like killing people like 9-year-old Brisenia Flores. Yep. And other situations like that. And the people who are in prison aren't the people who are responsible for these crimes. The people who are in prison are people that are there as tools so that the agenda people can make their political statement. Yeah, and they've done really well. So what else would I do different? That's honestly the groups. The groups, trusting other people, thinking other people were honest like me. That's the problem. If you're an honest person, you're screwed because we think other people are like us. But you have to know, especially when you're involved in things where people make money off of bodies on enormous scales, they got lots of spies and things everywhere. I mean, I had one chick pretend to be a victim of it who was an actual FBI agent herself, and I brought her into my home. By the way, she was extradited recently, so that's super awesome. They do turn on their own, and it's been fun watching some of these feds and stuff go down all these years later. But what would I do differently? Other than just go to the source and try to save the girls and expose the situation quietly. And what I mean by that is, okay, I knew nothing about internet. I knew nothing about media. I knew nothing about trolls or provocateurs or dishonesty at all. I just thought if everybody that's in a group has the same goal, or at least is honest, and that's not true. So you have to be very careful. Most likely, the people you're down there with are feds themselves, and they're there to make sure that you don't go, like in our case with the sex trafficking ring. I mean, of course, the mayor and stuff, chief of police, they told us that they'd be there that day, and they weren't. But then they send cops to threaten me for trespassing or totally ignoring that it's going on there, and then walk up to the bushes and then walk away. And then the other people we were with, like, why did they let me go down there alone? And one guy, why are they all up the hill? I'm going to go chase them by myself, which I did because I'm stupid like that. But I mean, realistically, these groups with law enforcement connections, military experience, all this stuff is going to let that happen? No, that just shows that they didn't actually want it exposed. Their number one goal was actually media exposure to keep the division and the race war going. Yeah, that's what it was about. Like with Southern Poverty Law Center, yeah, and groups like that. Let me tell you something right here, right now. They have actual videos of shootings. And actual video of sex trafficking ring that you have not seen, that was never uploaded on YouTube. How come they never told you about it and still had to kind of toe the line that I'm just some racist? Oh, but a cute one, but, I just dated the wrong guy and, toss her aside. If that was true, then why were they the first at the scene when they kidnapped my children in the Ozarks 2,000 miles away? Lots of pieces of the puzzle here. So you said you're not sure who's involved. Everyone's involved. Every single person, every single agency, every single group, every single corporation, every single person is involved. Why? Because they all make profit off of it. That's it. I mean, and actually there's way more to it. than that spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and in regards to our life path in general. But I guess if we're just talking about an earthly plane and physical causes and physical reasons. So yeah, what else would I do different? Well, yeah, like I said, I was a different person then. I wasn't as educated and experienced as I am now. I was too naive and trusting. So other than, you know, sticking with my original intent, what I would do differently is not trust anyone, not go with a group, not tell anyone. I probably wouldn't have posted them right away. I definitely wouldn't have, you know, contacted media or even talked to media. Because they twist everything and take sound bites and turn it into something else. Yeah. That's what I would do differently. Let me see. Am I getting to everything on there? I think, hang on. Okay. Why are they coming? That was in there. And yeah, you're right. There's not hardly any of them are from Mexico, like less than 20%. I can't remember the statistics because I don't care about any of that anymore because I know it's all bullshit. So I don't do TV, politics, politicians. I don't even pay attention to its existence at all. But yeah, or the fake statistics anymore. But why? Well, whoever's doing it is doing it either because they just want to live and be able to feed a family, or, you know, there's agendas from multiple other entities going on. So it's not something that can be reduced to just one reason or just one agency. One thing is for sure, it'll never be solved. It'll only be used to further divide people, further divide us all from our culture, further divide us all from our history, further divide us all from our community, our brothers and sisters, getting to know each other. Yeah, and it's sad, but I understand we're all programmed. So maybe some of them that are coming from the southern countries really do think they'll have a better life. Maybe they're programmed too. I was, you know, we all are. Every single person who's ever watched TV, news, politics, anyone born here, man, this earth is not what we think it is, but I'll just leave it at that. And I want to, what else can I say about this? I want to thank you. I don't even know. I wasn't planning on doing this at all, but it just felt like something I wanted to address. But you need to know, every organization is controlled by the people you think you're fighting against, period. I've talked about this in other videos or other radio show interviews, probably like in my gang stalking playlist, or I don't know. My channel is ridiculous these days. There's too much, and I realize it's hard to find, but there is a search function on the channel itself. So you could either look at the playlist and look at the names and then scroll through there, or use the search function, you know, Christie, Aphrodite, sex trafficking, or whatever. I mean, there's a lot that, it's funny when I watch some of it, I'm like, oh my God, I believed in that. Like the cops and all that stuff. But yeah, dude, let me tell you something else. All right, so, and these videos are on there on a different channel, but it is in the gang stalking playlist. But again, who's involved? Everyone. So there was this protest against, there was a meeting between Vicente Fox, Bush, and Harper, or whatever, the Canadian dude. This was 2006 in San Diego. And the human rights people, the open border people were protesting them. And I totally agreed with them. I wanted to protest too. I also wanted to just see, I thought it was cool. 3 presidents are there, and I was told it'd be a great place to videotape. So I went there, and on those videos, you can clearly see the whole protest was turned around towards me. Like, I was literally more important than the presidents of 3 countries. Yeah. Why? The closed border side hated me. The open border side hated me. They made it out like both sides were saying I work for the other side. So, for example, the closed border side, like Minutemen or whatever, people were saying that I work for La Raza and the Mexican government. Then the equivalent to them on the open border side were saying that I'm a Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard, or I don't know, dumb stuff like that. And my point is, me. Why so much attention for just one little girl? Everyone is involved. And if your friends or whoever are investigating things and they're actually getting to actual truth, then their life might look a lot like mine did for a while. And if it is, just know it's because you're a badass warrior and it's supposed to be that way, and that's how you're going to really find out how strong you are. But yeah, honestly, if there's like girls getting raped or whatever and you can get to them, try to help them. But most of them don't want help. And let me talk, oh yeah, that's right. So there I am. We escaped San Diego, and I'm like, oh, I discovered the same thing is going on in Branson, Missouri. I'm like, whoa, okay. And I had a job where it was to go in and talk to all the business owners, mostly hotels and stuff. So they knew, because that's where all the girls were staying. That didn't come from just across the border in Mexico. That came from multiple different countries. Yeah. Also, in San Diego, I almost got involved in another situation where it was exactly the same as when they were bringing the Mexican girls across the border to all the different places there to serve it. They were also taking the American girls and bringing them down to Mexico to service whatever an American religious type orphanage type, and multiple different types of things. So again, it's going on everywhere. The only hope is if the slaves themselves want out, and I know they're scared, but you have to do what you have to do. And if I could make it through what I made it through, I guarantee you can make it through some shit too. So in Branson, I quickly realized, well, even in San Diego, look at the video. The girls were running. They did not want to be saved. They did not want help. The cops were there. They didn't run to the cops. They didn't run to us. They ran away. Okay? And that was super, super hard for me to accept. Not everyone actually wants help. So if you're in a situation with somebody that does want help, then obviously help them. Otherwise, the people who are running from people like me, right? They're going to have to decide they want help. There's so many resources, dude. I've been on the road everywhere. There's like flyers in every rest stop, truck stops even, like everywhere, numbers to call, this or that. Everybody knows how to escape, especially if you've been being smuggled back and forth across the border. You've learned a few things, even if you are a slave, right? So use it. You can get away. There was something else in regards to that the girls not wanting help. Yeah. Oh, and then, yeah, I experienced that same thing in Branson. And a lot of the people that are involved in sex trafficking aren't as, say, brutal on the ground, like, under the tree with like that was in the McConaughey sex trafficking ring. Some of them are more glamorous. Like, they believe, a lot of the women believe that for them to come to America, the land of milk and honey, that it's just it's just normal for them to just sleep with some rich, fat, old, bald, ugly, abusive dude. They just think that that's normal. And they get their own hotel room in many cases, most cases. But again, you can't help them either. Why? Because they don't want help. They want that lifestyle. So the true hardcore truth is you can't really help anyone. So if I could answer the question, what would I do different if I was the same person then as I am now, like, none of that would have happened, really. I would have exposed what I could, and I definitely would have made sure that I knew how to use that camera and the battery wasn't too heavy so it didn't bounce out. That. Yeah, but ultimately I needed to heal. I needed to find out who I was and realize that all of that, trying to save others was just a diversion from finding out who I am and trying to save myself. And we do that a lot in this world because we're programmed with a lot of BS. So honestly, nothing good is going to come of it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just being honest. A life in politics or the distractions outside of us walking our walk and doing what feeds our soul and really finding out who we are and why we're here, anything outside of that is a distraction. Yet, many of these distractions are useful, but they can also become so ingrained in us that that's our whole identity, and we're stuck there. Like, look back at many of the people that were doing those things back in the early 2000s. Well, they're still doing the exact same thing, yelling at the exact same people, making the exact same non-progress, committing the exact same crimes, committing the exact same, setups when, getting good innocent people busted. Dude, this shit's insane. How come not one agency, not even the ones that were lying and saying that violence was going on, how come they never showed the proof of the shootings? Southern Poverty Law Center, ACLU, they wanted you to believe they were racist. How come they never showed it? How come they never showed the actual truth? How come they never told the truth about Brisenia Flores? Oh, because you guys are too busy hating Shauna Ford. Meanwhile, Little Dog, Leland, Red, all the same killers are still out there doing all the same thing, leading new groups, different names, all those same players that were there back then. What would I do different with the knowledge I have today? Yeah, good luck. I get having issues and wanting to help, but if you're looking to help anyone within politics or government or anything like that, my opinion is it's evidenced. Like, look, nothing ever gets better, it gets worse. So, yeah, and that's what they want us to do, to beg government for something. So, I probably didn't answer your question the way you wanted. Sorry. But thanks anyways, and have a good day. I will answer more questions as time permits.